without further ado, we would like to share with you a piece that I think says volumes about who you are and what together we have become.
I went out and borrowed some money from Ken Wolf and bought an airplane.
Yes, George came and said, I need a little money to start Ambassador. And not wanting to take any risk on airplanes, I think I made a second mortgage loan to him of maybe $20,000.
So all I did is borrow some money and buy one airplane for job security. I knew I could fly it. I knew I could find a few people to go with me. And that's what really launched it.
I said, George, what do you know about running a travel club? And George said, well, I don't really know anything about running a travel club, but I know a lot of things about how you don't run a travel club.
When we got started flying, the routine just became on the weekends, either George would go take the airplane out as captain or I would go out and take the airplane out as captain. So it was an easy scheduling situation back then.
So we went to the membership and said, would somebody please donate a bus, an old bus, any kind of an old bus. We got 2 buses.
But it was a lot of fun. And George might have been driving the bus. You didn't know who was going to be driving the bus.
In order to determine how many people were booked on a flight, we typed their name on a list. And we started every trip with a list that had, back then the aircraft held 173 seats, so we had a list of paper that had 173 slots on it.
He's a great pilot, and we knew we were safe as all get out, any place we wanted to go. And he took us in some places that most people wouldn't go in.
The one that stands out in my mind is Guatemala. It was truly a memorable trip with the volcanoes and the lakes. And
well, I really thought Japan was the most important trip for me.
Flying to Japan, China, Germany.
You'd get to know 4 to 8 flight attendants, and every other weekend you'd be on a trip, go down to the islands, and you'd be rooming with these gals for 3 or 4 years. They became your best friends.
The original uniforms that we wore in 1973, starting with Ambassador, were homemade. We bought materials, picked that out, and went to the house of one of the senior flight attendants and pulled out the sewing machine and put together a dress and a cap.
Just a different time period then.
We waited until March of '81. We were granted a certificate to fly charters, and we immediately started to sell our wares not only to the travel club, but to all the tour operators in the United States. And then, of course, from that moment on, our growth was fairly robust.
The growth of the company came about very quickly. It seemed like overnight. If you were here in the early 80s, I guess it was, it mushroomed.
The first customer, however, though, may have been brought on by George himself. I think that was a Funjet.
I think our very first client was a gentleman who's become a good friend since, Bill Lamacchia of Funjet in Milwaukee. And I think he'd watched us as a travel club, and so he talked to us for quite some time and said, why don't you carry some of my customers? And the moment we got our charter certificate, he was knocking on our door and said, George, now will you come fly out of Milwaukee? And we did. And that's a relationship that's carried us in good stead all these years.
Our hangar at that point in time, the door was not tall enough to allow the high T-tail on the 727 to go into the hangar. So we invented a contraption that we called the clamshell lift that literally encapsulated the front nose tires of the aircraft and then lifted it up, sort of like this, which lowered the tail of the aircraft down below the threshold of the door. And then we towed the aircraft into the hangar, dropped the clamshell back down, and left the airplane sitting in its normal configuration.
If you look at the charter industry in the United States, it was a bunch of fragmented little companies flying rusty airplanes with dirty carpets and threadbare seats.
Charters had had a reputation of being unreliable, planes in disarray. American Transair would show up with an airplane that was clean.
What we did that was different was we provided the service that we promised people we were going to provide.
The chief executive of another charter airline told me, never bring your airplanes around here again because you're so much better than us. Make us look bad. And to me, that was the highest compliment I was paid.
So all we did is take the product that we had perfected in Ambassador, which was very well received by the members, and try to commercialize that product. And it was quite a success, and we couldn't buy airplanes fast enough, so to speak.
Before you know it, we were buying 2 and 3 and 4 planes at a time, and we had a huge fleet of 707s. Instead of 2 crews and 1 or 2 airplanes, you knew everyone, and we had crew members coming and going.
I think George was always of the thought that we shouldn't put all of our eggs in one basket. So he decided that it was a good time to maybe foray a little bit into the scheduled service market.
So I said, well, by God, we are going to become a scheduled carrier. And we started flying Indianapolis, Fort Myers, Florida on a scheduled basis, just so we could prove to the rest of the world that we were just as good as TWA and American Airlines and everybody else.
Scheduled service came about in May of 1986, and I had the privilege of being the captain on the flight, the initial flight out of Indianapolis. We flew down to Tampa, from Tampa to Fort Lauderdale, and Fort Lauderdale back to Indianapolis.
During the 80s, ATA's growth was so phenomenal that anything we put in, whether it was a computer system, whether it was communications equipment in a station, whatever, we were nearly outgrowing it before we got it installed.
We also do a lot of flights for the U.S. military. I'd say probably our largest wholesale tour operator really is the U.S. military.
During Desert Shield and Desert Storm, ATA was the largest single passenger carrier that operated to and from the desert. We operated 496 trips into the desert during that time frame.
The thing that I remember the most about all of that was when George decided to go out and fly the troops back home. And he was actually the first aircraft that landed on U.S. soil bringing troops out of the Gulf. And that was exciting. CNN had some great coverage of it, and it showed George opening up the cockpit hatch and launching the American flag out of it. So it was quite exciting for us here at the company.
As was pointed out, while the total size of American Transair is relatively modest compared to some other airlines, you flew 496 sorties, contributed roughly 20% of all the troops that were taken in there.
Indianapolis-based airline American Transair is playing a significant role in the Haiti crisis. ATA carried over 1,000 U.S. troops to Puerto Rico in preparation for a possible invasion of Haiti.
We took the paramedics and rescue dogs over when the earthquake happened, and that was a very exciting trip. I mean, not for the reason, but just to go into Russia. We were the first American plane to land there since World War II. So that was kind of a historical event for us. So.
The company was coming off the Gulf War experience and had all the airplanes coming back from the desert with very little or no place to send them. So we had to expand fairly rapidly some of our tour operator relationships and scheduled service.
When it came to Midway Airport in the Chicago market, I think there were a number of us here that felt like there was a void that had been created at Midway Airport for some time, especially with the demise of Midway Airlines.
So we started up with just a few. It was overwhelming, and the cash generated from the operation was a very welcome addition to what was otherwise a lean and difficult winter.
For a long time, it was really run down. Southwest moved into Midway, and almost immediately afterwards, we started to make a foothold at Midway.
Well, expansion of a local airline means more flights leaving Midway Airport and more jobs arriving.
The Indianapolis-based charter airline is expected to announce today new service from Midway Airport to Honolulu, Maui, and Nassau, the Bahamas.
Safe to say that the success of Midway exceeded anyone's expectation. From the day we started service, the phones started ringing and lit up like a Christmas tree, and they did not stop. It was incredible.
It's time to find some sun.
We really arrived at the fact that American Transair was just simply too big a name for people to remember and was, easily confused with a lot of other carriers. It was really in that meeting that, the decision was made, or the recommendation was made that, this ought to be known as ATA. It's a lot easier to understand. It was very important for us to create a position for the carrier with the consumer, and we really utilized advertising in a great way to do that.
Our ATA jingle, everyone seems to know it. On ATA, you're on vacation. That has been one of the biggest things that we've done to promote ATA here in the marketplace.
No time for work, just fun. I'm on ATA again, and on ATA, you're on vacation.
The strength of any corporation, a good corporation, is its people and its philosophy. And I think we've been very, very fortunate over the years to have been able to attract just a super bunch of people.
It's one of the big mysteries of this company. There's something that grabs you and holds you the minute you go to work with this company that makes you want to give your all.
I think when George started out, he wanted to surround himself with people that didn't mind a bit of hard work. But he set a good example because he used to go out and do all the very things that he asked the employees to do.
The people at ATA are truly dedicated, they're hardworking, they have a work ethic that you won't find at a lot of different companies. They have a can-do attitude that is just outstanding, and it's obvious when you walk through this building or you're on an aircraft, whether you're working in a baggage area, a maintenance area, wherever it is, you can just see that things are happening and things are getting done.
And we don't rest until we finish the job.
I don't think that the airline would have been successful if it wasn't for their employee base.
This is the first job that I can honestly say I love working here.
ATA has a unique personnel. It's a large company that operates globally, and yet it still has that small company feel.
I think we've been able to maintain that small company warmth that we had when we were very small. I mean, I was the 89th person employee at the time I joined ATA.
So it has to be the strength of the people and the character that's behind the company.
We all work together as a family. We try to get the work done.
The pilot group at ATA is a rather unique group. We train to a very high standard, perhaps one of the highest standards in the industry. We're required to do that because of the fact that they have to move at a moment's notice, as I said, to any place in the world. They're a very good group. They understand what it takes to get the job done. We obviously have an excellent safety record.
Safety is paramount here at American Transair.
Safety first. You can't compromise on that.
Well, ATA's sponsorships and presents are numerous. You know, I go to an evening event for the Children's Wish Fund, and ATA will be a primary sponsor, or whether it's the Pacer Games, where ATA has a partnership that's important, or whether it's a number of other health-related organizations and others that receive contributions that directly are the result of the successes that ATA has had as an airline.
ATA was the 5th carrier up and running of all the carriers to offer full bookability on the website. That certainly was meaningful to us to be doing that. We look at the internet as certainly as the future.
And I see no reason why it won't continue, and why the folks that fly on American Transair and on Ambassador can look forward to many, many more years of exactly what they've had now, and perhaps even better. The future is unlimited for this company.
Well, I think that we've reached a point of maturity after 25 years. The most exciting thing I think about ATA today is that given the 25-year history we have and the balance sheet that we've been able to build really just recently in many cases, as we look forward, we have the wherewithal and the skills in terms of the people at the company to pursue anything we want to pursue.
It started as a dream. It started as one man flying a wonderful aircraft.
It's a real Horatio Alger success story. They still happen in the 20th century.
Happy 25th, ATA.
Happy 25th, ATA.
Happy 25th anniversary, ATA.
Happy 25th anniversary. Feliz 25 aniversario, ATA.
On behalf of all the Chicago employees, we wish ATA a happy 25th anniversary.
Happy 25th anniversary, ATA.
Happy 25th anniversary, ATA.
Happy 25th, ATA. Happy 25th, ATA.
Happy 25th anniversary.
Happy 25th, ATA.
Happy 25th, ATA.
Happy 25th, ATA.
Happy 25th anniversary, American Transair.
Happy 25th, ATA. Happy 25th, ATA.
Happy 25th, ATA.
Happy 25th, ATA.
Happy 25th, ATA.
Happy 25th, ATA.
Happy 25th, ATA.
Happy 25th, ATA.
Happy 25th, ATA.
Happy 25th, ATA.
Happy 25th, ATA. Happy 25th, ATA. You like that one better?
Happy 25th, ATA.
Happy 25th birthday, ATA.
Happy 25th, 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 ATA. Happy 25th, ATA.
Happy 25th, ATA.
Happy 25th, ATA.
Happy 25th, ATA.
Happy 25th, ATA.
Happy 25th, ATA.
Happy 25th, ATA.
Happy 25th anniversary, ATA, and I wish to be here 25 more.
Happy 25th, ATA.
Thanks everybody for getting us here. Happy 25th, ATA.